Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is a brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad with another edification to the power and spirit of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai. Alright, so first and foremost, Ka'al Halayim, La Alahayanawa, Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai, Baal Shem Kodash, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai. Alright, double honors unto the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessing, salutation unto the brothers who preach and teach the truth. Throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom unto the speckled bird, Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Aquat. Alright, so I haven't have a title for this edification, alright. I haven't got a title. Maybe during the course of the edification, the Lord will know, through the Spirit, He will send something for me. Alright, He will send something to me, but hey, nevertheless, alright, I hope that you will be edified by it. Alright, by what I'm going to bring out here. Now, this edification, alright, was inspired by a conversation that I had with a Christian yesterday, a Jehovah's Witness to be exact. Alright, you know, the conversation was going along the lines of salvation, you know, who salvation pertaineth unto, these things, you know, and, you know, what is obvious, I would let him know the truth that salvation is only for Israel. Alright, and he was like, you know, the usual typical Christians, when they hear that, you know, they started to talk about the other nations, and they refer, and you know, they will refer to to instances of Paul, you know, speaking, you know, on his journeys, you know, the journeys that Paul had made, you know, and the gentiles that he had encountered and whatnot, so forth, you know, and as I told him, you know, those people that Paul had spoken to, all right, those people that Paul had spoken to were Israelites. They were all Israelites, all right? They were all Israelites. All right? Paul was our apostle to the Gentiles, because you have to understand this. Christians they don't study history. All right? They don't study history. They always bypass history, and that is the biggest mistake. That is the biggest downfall. All right? They always negate the history. Okay? And most of the history of the nation of Israel, all right, is recorded where? Is recorded in the Old Testament. All right? Because you have to understand this. You have to understand the Old Testament in order for you to understand the New Testament. Okay? All right? Now, yeah, you see, the first thing I would deal with within this edification here, all right, the first thing that I would deal with is the curses. All right? The curses. Because, is it Deuteronomy, boy? Bear with me. Just bear with me. Yeah, it is Deuteronomy chapter 30. And there's a reason why I go into that. Alright, Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 15. And then I will go to Deuteronomy. Alright, then I will go to Deuteronomy 28, Salakia. Alright, so Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15, where it reads, "See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil." All right, because this is pursuant to after the law, statutes, and commandment was given unto us, and the covenant, the consequences pursuant to the covenant, whether we obey or whether we disobey, and what have you, so forth, you know. And we all said that we would have obeyed. All right, and you know, the covenant was sanctified by blood and all these things. All right, so this is what Moses is telling us here. All right, this is what Moses is speaking unto the children of Israel here, and he said, "In that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy power, to walk to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy power shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I denounce unto you this day, Salakia, I denounce unto you this day, that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon your land whither thou passes over Jordan to go to possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you. All right? All right? So what? Through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yashai, all right? Moses, all right? Peace be upon him, our forefather, all right? The word was just in my mind, and a boy. All right, he's right. He's holding us to our promise, that what we had promised to the Father. All right, he's holding us to it. So he says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing. This is the part here. Blessing and cursing. All right, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. All right, and this is the situation here. Israel had went astray. All right, Israel had went astray. And what took place with us? All right, verse 20, that thou mayest love the Lord thy power, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yashai sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them. All right, so what did take place with us? All right, when I go to Daniel, I'll go back to the Deuteronomy 28. Just bear with me. But I have to come with this here, which is Daniel. I think is Daniel 9 and 11, I believe. Bear with me, Daniel 9 and 11. Yep, Daniel 9 and 11. All right. I will start from 9, Daniel 9 and 9. It reads, to the Lord our power, all right, belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our power to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants, the prophets. Yea, all Israel have transgressed the law, thy law. All Israel has transgressed thy law. All right? All Israel. And this is the understanding here pursuant to, I think it's in Romans, where it says, we have all sinned and fall short of the glory. All right? Again, Christians will universalize this, all right, and think that it's speaking about everybody. No. Okay, what is sin? Sin is transgression of the law. Okay. And who was the law was given on to? All right, who the law was given on to? Was the law given unto the other nations? No. The law was given unto the children of Israel. Okay, so basically it's only Israel could sin. Okay, that's why Israel alone suffered the curses pursuant to the covenant. All right, pursuant to the breaking of the law and not keeping of the covenant, the agreement. That's why the curses fell upon Israel. Okay, so it says here, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, all right, the servant of Yahweh, because we have sinned against him, and he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us. All right, he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us, and against our judges that judge us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. All right, As it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil is come upon us, yet made we not our prayer before the Lord our power, Yahweh Hashem Yashai, that we might turn from our iniquity and understand thy truth. Alright? Therefore, verse 14, therefore had the Lord watched upon the evil and brought it upon us, for the Lord our power is righteous in all his work which he doeth, for we obeyed not his voice. Alright? So all the curses had fallen upon us, and a great part of the curse, alright. And this is why I said, Christians, they don't deal with history. Alright? They don't deal with history, and the Bible is the most accurate history book in the world. Alright? So when I go to the main curse, one of the main curses in Deuteronomy, alright, in Deuteronomy 28 and 64. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64, where it says, and the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yashai shall scatter thee. Alright, let's go to that word scatter. Let's go to that word scatter.
Strong's 86327. Poots.
Alright. Poots. Alright. In Hebrew there, but I do believe that is the proper pronunciation because they go by the Yiddish. Alright. So it says here to scatter, be dispersed, be scattered. To be dispersed, be scattered. Alright, to be scattered, to be spread abroad. Alright, to be spread abroad. Okay? This is what it is. Alright? So, what? What the Lord is basically showing you, he's telling us, alright, that we, pursuant to the curses, alright, he's going to drive us out of the land and flee in 7 different ways. Alright? This is what it is. He's going to literally drive us out of the land, spew us out of the land, and drive us 7 different ways. Alright, to the 4 corners of the earth. Okay? This is what it is. So it says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there shalt thou serve other gods. Alright? Other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Okay? This is what it is. Alright? And Christians, they fail to come to that understanding of the scattering of the children of Israel. Okay? That was taking place, alright, from since those days of old, alright, even to now. Okay? Because you have to understand this. I think it's Joel 2. Let me take a look at it. I think it's Joel 2, and Brother Nagad had brought up that they must see Brother Nagad. No, not Joel 2. Joel 1. Joel 1. Yes, it's Joel 1. Alright. They must see something here. Yes. Joel 1. Now watch this. Watch this. Joel 1 and 1. It says, the word of the Lord that came to Joel, the son of Pethuel. Hear this, ye old men, and give ear, all ye inhabitants of the land. Hath this been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Tell ye your children of it, and let your children tell their children, and their children, and their children another generation. Alright? That which the palmer worm hath left had the locust eaten, and that which the locust had left had the cankerworm eaten, and that which the cankerworm hath eaten had the caterpillar eaten. What this is speaking about here, verse 4, this verse 4, what this parable is speaking about here, what does this mean? Alright? What does this mean? This is speaking, this is precepted to go along with going back to Daniel, all right? I'll go to Daniel chapter 7 to go straight to the point. I could go to Daniel chapter 2, all right? But I will go to Daniel chapter 7, all right? The vision of the four beasts, okay? Because there's a reason why I'm doing this here, why I'm going it within this angle here. All right, there's a reason why I'm going within this angle. So stick with me, and get the edification through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. So Daniel 7:1, in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and vision of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. All right, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds upon the heaven strove upon the great sea. All right, what is that great sea? That great sea is the people. All right, it represents the people. Okay, but those four winds, we will see what those four winds represent. Okay, verse 3, and four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. All right, all right. So it says here, and four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. All right, and these four beasts is speaking of what? Let's see. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. All right. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was pulled, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. This here is speaking about what? When it says here, and a lion and had eagle's wings, that was speaking about the Assyrian Empire. All right, but when it says the wings were plucked off, this is speaking about the new, all right, the new Babylonian Empire. All right, so those four beasts, which we're going to go down into, all right, those four beasts were actually four major empires that ruled upon the face of the earth. Okay, that ruled upon the face of the earth. So it says, the first was like, oh no, I read that, right? And when it says a man's heart was given unto it, all right, this is speaking about Nebuchadnezzar, the father of Nebuchadnezzar. All right, but there's a whole history that goes with that. I don't have the time for that right now. All right, so I just want to get to the points here. Verse 5, and behold, another beast is second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. All right, and that second beast it's speaking about is what? Is the Medo-Persian Empire. All right, the Medo-Persian Empire. There's what it is. All right, verse 6. Verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. The beast had also four heads, and the dominion was given unto it. This is speaking of what? This is speaking of Alexander the Great, all right, the Grecian Empire, and after his death, all right, it was split up between his four generals. Okay? This is what it is here. Verse 7. And after this I saw in the night visions, and beheld a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Okay, this is speaking of what? This is speaking of the ancient pagan Roman Empire. Okay, so when you go back to the Joel, chapter 1 and verse 4, where it says, that which the palmer worm hath left hath the locust eaten, and that which the locust hath eaten, the canker worm eaten, and that which the canker worm had left, the caterpillar eaten. All right. This here is speaking about those four major empires. All right, that had brought devastation, destruction upon the children of Israel. And within these four major empires is where the mass set of scattering started to take place. Scattering was taking place even before that. All right, but when these four major empires came in succession, one after the other, all right, they were bringing what? They were bringing their own way of laws and what have you, so forth, and they were bringing subjections. That's the point. They were bringing subjection unto the children of Israel. All right, especially when the Grecians, which is the so-called white man, all right, these so-called Grecians, Alexander the Great. Well, not really him too much, because he had still allowed us to continue with our laws and all these things. All right, all we just had was to do was give him a tributary, what have you, so forth, and complement of soldiers and whatnot, so forth, and we were allowed to keep our laws, our statutes, and our way of life. It's not until after his death that Antiochus and what have you, so forth, they were the ones to bring forth the Hellenization period upon us. All right, these grievousness upon us. All right, and bring about laws where it was not lawful for us to call ourselves a Jew. All right, because remember, the Assyrians, they had already, the northern kingdom, Salakia, they had already left into captivity under the hands of the Assyrians. All right, this is what it is. So, and when the Assyrian Empire had fell, what? They left. All right, they left and they came over here onto the Western Hemisphere. All right. So you're seeing how the scattering taking place. All right, there's a reason why I start off at this angle. All right, because this is what I'm saying. Christians, they always negate history. All right, they all just want to subscribe to the New Testament and Jesus Christ and all that. All right, all that, and do not even have the understanding of the Old Testament to lead up to the New Testament. All right, to lead up to the New Testament to get the proper understanding. All right, this is what it is. Christians don't even have the slightest clue. All right, pursuant to the Grecian Empire and the Hellenization that the Israelites went through. All right, mainly the Southern Kingdom. There were sprinkles of Northern Kingdom that was amongst the Southern Kingdom after the fall of the Assyrian Empire. Okay, but it was mainly the South. All right, Judah, Benjamin, Levi that was dwelling within the South. All right, that was going through those major atrocities by the Neo-Babylonian, by the Medo-Persian, by the Grecian, and then the what I call them, the Romans. And under the Romans, it was the worst. All right, under the Romans, it was the worst. All right, but you see, the thing is, what was the cause of that? The curses. All right, what caused the scattering? The curses. The curses caused the scattering. All right, so when Paul came on the scene, when Yahushua had dealt with Paul and whatnot, so forth, and thing, and Paul had was to go on the journey and whatnot and speak. It was Israelites that he was speaking that was dispersed into all these lands that he had made his journey. It was Israelites that he was speaking to. All right. Paul was that man to break down the middle wall of partition, because you have to understand again, when you go to, like, all right, when you go to, oh boy, Acts. It's the book of Acts. It's the book of Acts, but I had to go to my hard copy. Bear with me, I had to go to my hard copy. Not 7, boy. Not 7. Bear with me here. It's actually Acts 13. Alright? Acts 13. And I will start at 41. Acts 13 and 41. Alright? Acts 13 and 41, it reads, Behold, ye despisers, and wonder, behold, ye despisers, and wonder, and perish, for I work a work. Alright, who is that he is speaking to? He is speaking to the Jews that know that they are Jews. Alright? Behold, ye despisers, and wonder, and perish, for I work a work in your days, a work which ye shall in no wise believe, though a man declare it unto you. And when the Jews were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles, all right, the Gentiles, so they will look at this, you see, the Gentiles, all right, let's go and see what that word means, all right, what that word is saying.
Strong's G 1484, ethnos.
All right, ethnos. It is saying a multitude, whether of men or of beasts, associated, all right, associated or living together. All right, associated or living together. All right, a company, troop, swarm. All right, a multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus. All right, same nature or genus. All right, genus goes into what? Genes. All right, of the same lineage. All right, everybody upon the face of the earth is not of the same lineage. All right, Genesis chapter 10 proves it. Okay, you have the lineage of the Hamites. All right, you have the lineage of the Japhites, and you have the lineage of the Shemites. All right, and out of all the nations within the Shemites, there is that one chosen lineage. All right, there's that one chosen lineage from Adam go all the way down to Noah. All right, from Noah to Shem. All right, from Shem go all the way down to Abraham to Isaac, to Isaac and Jacob, and from Jacob is the 12 tribes. All right, the 12 sons which created the 12 tribes. All right, so it says here. All right, so all right, so it says ethnos. Ethnos goes into what? Ethnos goes into ethnicity, your race. All right, so those Gentiles that Paul was speaking to, that Paul was speaking, that Paul was speaking to, they were who? They were Israelites. All right, and I'm going to prove it. All right, and when the Jews were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles, all right, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath. All right, and now when the congregation was broken up, many of the Jews and religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of Yahweh. All right, and the next Sabbath they came, almost the whole city together, to hear the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But when the Jews saw the multitude, they were full of envy, and spake against those things which were spoken by Paul, contradicting and blaspheming. Now, why they were filled with envy? Because you have to understand this, all right? The Jews who knew that they were Jews were always against those Hellenized Jews, all right, who did not knew that they were Jews, okay? Because remember, there were a lot of Jews due to the Hellenization. There were a lot of Israelites due to the Hellenization, all right, after being conquered and what have you, so forth, that fall into the lifestyle, that fall into the lifestyle of the conqueror, all right. So basically, what had taken place, because if you go and read the book of Maccabees, first and second Maccabees, and saw the atrocities that the nation of Israel went through, all right, and how they had was to leave from their heritage, all right, and within that whole 400-year span of the Grecian Empire, coming on now to the Roman Empire, and coming down now to where, the Messiah came and he had died and whatnot, so forth, so forth. You have a situation of Jews, Israelites, being disassembled from their original heritage. Or disseminated is the word I think I should use. I think. Oh, I think, where is E? Let me see. Yeah, let me see. No. No, I was wrong. So, I was wrong there. The good thing I make sure and look at the word, because I don't want disassemble was the correct word that I'd use, not disseminate. All right. So disassemble from, all right. They were disassembled from their heritage. All right. So now when Paul was bringing them back into their heritage and whatnot and teaching them, all right, they were Jews that were angry, they were vexed, because they were always looking at these Gentiles, these Gentile Jews in a Gentile state of mind. They were always looking at them, as sellouts. Why it is that they must come back to the fold and whatnot, so forth, so forth. They and their ancestors, were sellouts and whatnot, so forth. You know how it goes. Again, you have to study the history. You must study the history. Okay, so it says, verse 46, but then Paul and Barnabas waxed bold and said it was necessary that the word of Yahweh should first have been spoken to you. Why? Because you are the ones that know that you all are Jews. All right? You are the ones that know that you all are Jews. All right? We didn't have to go through that fact to teach you all that, hey, you all are Israelites and whatnot, so forth, and this is a heritage, this is a history, this, that. All we just had was to do with what Paul and them had to just do with these Jews that know that they were Jews, was teach them of Yahweh Shai, teach them of the mercies, teach them of the grace of Yahweh Shai, teach them of Yahweh Shai. All right, but to the Gentiles, it was a bit harder. The work was a bit harder because first you have to teach them who they are, and then you teach them of Yahweh Shai, and whatnot, so forth, and then you will when they get the understanding, you will teach them of the laws, the statutes, the commandments, these things to follow. That's why Paul wasn't too heavy on the law towards the Gentiles. All right. Teach them of Yahweh Shai first, teach them of the mercies, these things and whatnot, and and then the law and all these things will come into play. You understand? This is what it is. So it says here, then Paul and Barnabas waxed bold and said it was necessary that the word of Yahweh should first have been spoken to you, but seeing ye put it from you, and judge yourselves unworthy of everlasting life, lo, we turn to the Gentiles. All right, we turn to the Gentiles. All right, we turn to the Israelites who have been scattered. All right, who have been scattered into these Grecian cities and these Grecian province and whatnot, and Roman provinces and whatnot, so forth. We will go to them and teach them and bring them back into the fold. All right, to cause the jealousy that is spoken of in Romans 11. You understand? This is what it is. This is not a hard thing. Why is not hard? Because once you get the understanding of the history, once you study the Old Testament and keep with the history, keep in line with the history, and you have the Apocrypha to keep on keeping on that line, that when you reach to the New Testament, you would have the understanding of why things was being said, why certain things was being done, what not, so forth. It don't take rocket science. Alright? Verse 48, and when the Gentiles heard this, they were glad and glorified the word of the Lord, and as many as were ordained to eternal life believed. And the word of the Lord was published throughout all the region. But the Jews stirred up the devout and honorable women and chief men of the city, and raised persecution against Paul and Barnabas, and expelled them from their course. All right, wicked Jews, wicked Israelites. All right, that wasn't showing for that brotherly love. All right, because as again, these Jews who knew that they were Jews, they wanted nothing to do with these Israelites that were scattered throughout. All right, and was following the customs of the other nations. They was always looking at them as sellouts. You understand? Hence the reason why Paul was the man. All right, Paul was the man. Why you think? Let me see if I could get that. It's somewhere in Acts, but I don't really want to go through the hard copy. I think I could roughly paraphrase it. Can thou? Oh shucks, what am I doing? Yeah, right. So can thou speak as Greek? Acts 21 and 37. Let's take a look at that. Acts 21 and 37. Let's take a look at that. Acts 21 and 37. Alright, this was when they had taken Paul. They had taken Paul and carried him to the Caesars at that time. Alright, that brought him to the temple. Alright, let me see. It was what, boy? 37. Alright. Right, so 37. Alright, I went straight to the point. Straight to the point. You all could go and read the rest leading up to this year, to get the edification. Alright, so Acts 21:37 it reads, and as Paul was led into the castle, alright, not the temple, the castle, Salakia, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee? Who saidest, canst thou speak Greek? Alright, canst thou speak Greek? Now why was he asked that? Why was Paul asked that? Can he speak Greek? Because Paul was he was bilingual. He could have speak Greek along with the Hebrew and what have you, so forth. Alright. Now, Paul was asked that. Okay? Paul was asked that. Now, remember, Paul went to Athens and whatnot, all these Grecian provinces and whatnot. Why was Paul? Ask yourself this question, you Christians, and you Jakes who now coming into this truth, you Israelites who now coming into this truth. Why was Paul given the authority to go to these Grecian provinces? All right. Why was Paul given the permission to go by the Lord himself to go to these Grecian provinces? It's because Paul could have spoke Greek. You understand? Paul could have spoke Greek. He could have speak Greek. He could have speak his own language. All right? And the reason why he was sent there is because there were Israelites. There were Israelites that were scattered into these Grecian provinces. All right? When you take a look at, let's go to the Apocrypha a bit. Let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 1. I'm going to read the whole first chapter. 1 Maccabees 1 and 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, which is modern day Cyprus, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, and he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, which means he was the first so-called white man, all right, to rule in Greece, all right, because the real Grecians, all right, they were Japhites, and the Japhites were so-called black men, so-called black people, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die, wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and who had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom, among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. All right. When you go now to, you know what? I will go to 2 Maccabees. I will go to 2 Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 7. All right. 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 7, where it reads, But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus, called Epiphanes, took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, Jason was an Israelite. All right, he was an Israelite. Labored underhand to be the priest, all right, to be the high priest, okay, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of another revenue 80 talents. All right, so Jason was a sellout. All right, now watch what Jason, an Israelite, watch what he had done. All right, beside this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set up a place of exercise and for the training up of the youth in the fashion of the heathen. All right, this is what Jason was doing, bringing his own people under Hellenization, all right, under Greekish customs and what have you, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians, all right, not Israelites but Antiochians, all right, change the identity and what have you, so forth, which when the king had granted and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation, all right, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion. All right, this is what Jason had done, Hellenizing his own people. All right, when you go down to verse 12, for he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat. Now such was the height of the Greek fashion and increase of heathenish manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest, that the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastening to be partakers of the unlawful allowances in the place of exercise after the game of discus, called them forth. Now not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. So down to the priests, all right, down to the priests and all, had stopped doing their priestly duties and what have you, so forth, and converting into Greekish heathenistic customs and whatnot, so forth, you know, and learning the language and speaking Greek and whatnot, so forth, and from generation to generation to generation, it was passed down to the point where, you know, These Israelites, when it reached the point of where Paul come on the scene, a lot of them, they don't know that they're true history. All right, because they all grew up Greek. It's the same thing as today. All right, you Israelites don't know that you all are Israelites. You all call yourself what? Trinidadian, Jamaican, Haitian, African American, whatever the case may be. All right, because that is what you were taught. That is what was indoctrinated into you by your ancestors onwards down towards you. You understand? That's why when you go to Second Maccabees, watch this. All right, verse Second Maccabees 6:6. It says, neither was it lawful for a man. I could have started from one, but I will go to the point because I had to go on the plantation. All right. Second Maccabees 6:6, it reads, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, all right, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew, all right, because there was a penalty for that. We will read, and in the day of the king's birth every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices, and when the feast of Bacchus, all right, was kept, the Jews were compelled, they were forced to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy, all right, costumes and whatnot, so forth, carnival, okay. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices, and who would not conform themselves to the manner of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then mighty man have seen the present misery. All right. So this is the situation that was taking place. All right. We were being forced to follow the customs and whatnot of these heathen nations. All right. We was not allowed to circumcise our the boys and whatnot, so forth, you know, and keep our high holy days and all these things. All right. Keep our heritage. So from generation to generation, our heritage was literally wiped out, clean. You understand? We were scattered. All these, when all in the beginning stages of all these atrocities that was going on, a lot of us fled, pursuing to the curses where the Lord said He would scatter us. So a lot of us fled to any place that we could go for succor. When I go back to First Maccabees 1:41. First Maccabees 1:41, where it reads, moreover, all right, this was the beginning of the Hellenization period, all right, which started with Antiochus. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all people should be one. Oh boy. And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented unto his religion, sellout Israelites, sacrifice unto idols, and profane the Sabbaths. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices, and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. This is what we had. This is what we was going through. All right, and pollute the sanctuary, and holy people set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. Yeah, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. All right, this was the purpose of the Hellenization, and it was successful at that. It was very successful at that. All right, so because of all this that was taking place, there were Israelites that was not conforming. So what did happen? Let me see. There's a particular. All right. So let me continue. I will read. All right. I'll read from verse 52 and 53. The point. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor, they could flee for help. So Israelites, all right, they were Israelites who would not conform to the Grecian customs and what have you, so forth, and they had was to flee. They had was to flee. All right, and go into other lands and what have you, so forth. All right, again goes back to the prophecy of the curse pursuant to the scattering. You understand? That's why when you take a look at Romans 9, when you take a look at Romans 9, all right, Romans 9, I'll go to Romans 9 and then I'm going to go to Acts chapter 2. Romans 9 and 1, it says, I say the truth in a Mashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Spirit, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. According to the flesh. Not according to no spiritual Israelites. You Jehovah Witness and what they call them, Seventh-day Adventists and what have you, so forth, with the supersessionism, your replacement theology, where you all took away the children of Israel from the whole narrative of this book and replace it with yourselves with universalism. All right, that anybody could be an Israelite and what have you, so forth. No, it don't work like that. All right, for you to be an Israelite, you have to come from the seed of Israel. For you to be an Edomite, you have to come from the seed of Edom. For you to be an Ishmaelite, you have to come from the seed of Ishmael. This is what it is. All right, who are Israelites? For let me read over verse 3 again. For I wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites. All right, who are Israelites, to whom, all right, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Yahweh and the promises. So Romans 9 showing it clear without the shadow of a doubt who Paul is speaking to. All right, it is showing you clearly who Paul is speaking to. Paul is speaking to Israelites that is in Rome. This is clearly showing you who he is addressing to. All right? Who are the fathers? All right? Who are the fathers of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came? All right? So they're showing you who Hamashiach came for, his people. This is who he died for, his people. All right? Who is over all, Yahweh blessed forever. Not as though the word of Yahweh hath taken none effect, for they are not all Israel which are of Israel. All right? Because they are what? They are 2/3 of Israel that is, you know, that is not of the spirit of Yahweh, but Hashem Yahweh Shai. This is the point. This is a major point here now. And this is what Paul is showing them here. And this showing you this, if you can't see this, that this is Israelites that Paul is speaking to, then boy, hey, something is really wrong with you. You all are really blinded. You all are really blinded. Verse 7, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children. So Paul is putting a separation here one time. He is teaching them and giving them a separation here one time. Because some of them, they may know the little bit of history pursuant to Abraham and whatnot, so forth, or you may be teaching them the history of Abraham and whatnot, so forth, you know, and they may think, all right, because, all right, Abraham had other sons and whatnot, so forth, so forth. But Paul is letting them know, he's giving them the assurance, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called, that is they, which are the children of the flesh. Yeah, the children of the flesh, these are not the children of Yahweh, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. As in one, not seeds. As in many, as in Abraham's other children. For this is the word of promise, at this time will I come, and Sarah will have a son. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac. You understand? Now I don't need to go down to all the rest there, but this is showing you. This is showing you. Alright? Because when you go to Acts, when you go back to Acts chapter 2 and verse 5, Acts chapter 2 and verse 5, where it reads, what it says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Why? Why there were Jews, devout men, all right, out of every nation under heaven? What caused that? What caused that? Obviously, it had to be the scattering due to Deuteronomy 28 and 64, the curse. You must know the history. Now when this was noise abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language, and they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? Now we hear every man in our own tongue wherein we were born. Parthians, now watch this, Parthians and Medes and Elamites. This is all where Israel was scattered to. Alright? Parthians and Medes. Alright? And Elamites. Alright? Where's the land of Elam? Where you know today as East India. Alright? And today there's still our people over there. These the Punjabis, the Siddhis, the Dailats. Alright? That's our people there. How did they came there? Alright, a lot of them came there through the sub-Saharan slave trade, and a lot of them came there, they was dwelling there since the Medo-Persian Empire. Since the Medo-Persian Empire. You understand? And dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and in Cappadocia, and in Pontus and Asia, Persia and Pamphylia, yeah, and in Egypt, and in other parts of Libya, about Cyrene, and what? And strangers of Rome. And strangers of Rome. Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of Yahweh. Alright? And those proselytes were Israelites. Again. And they were dwelling at Jews. They were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Alright? It even showing you what? And strangers of Rome. That's why when they go to Acts 18, let's take a look at Acts 18 and 1. Alright? Acts 18 and 1. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth. Alright, he departed from Athens and came to Corinth. Paul had was to go to all these Grecian provinces and whatnot because he could have speak Greek. Alright, he could have speak Greek. And there were Israelites that was in these Grecian provinces, alright, being Hellenized and what have you, so forth, that had been Hellenized. Alright? And found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately came from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius Caesar had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. Alright? The book of Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 10 and 1 proves that the people of Corinth that Paul was speaking to were Israelites. The book of Galatians, I think is the 4th chapter, proves that who Paul was speaking to, those Galatians that Paul was speaking to, were Israelites. They were all Israelites, man. That's why when you go to James 1 and 1, I had to hurry this up. James 1 and 1. James 1 and 1. James is servant of Yahweh and of the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Yeah? To the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, which is the diaspora. You understand what I'm saying? Which is the diaspora. So yes, and I think that is the title. So yes, the Gentiles that Paul spake to in the New Testament, they were all Israelites. They were all Israelites. And I think I would have to leave it at that because I had to get ready to go to the plantation. Alright, so I really and truly hope that you all was edified through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Alright? Boy, 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 oh boy, oh boy. It is what it is, you know. It is what it is. You Christians, you all will never get it. Because why? The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is not dealing with you all. Point blank period. Point blank period. Alright? So, I hope you all are edified through the power and spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is a brother Kahan from the GMS Prophetic Vibration Camp here in Trinidad, saying, Kal Halayim, La Alahayanawa, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahweh Shai. Double honors unto the apostles, the elders, and bishops of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, blessing, salutation unto the brothers who preaching and teaching the truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and their freedom to do so no more than ever. Shalom unto the speckled bird Israelites, and shalom unto the very few but faithful Akwat, which is his sisters that listening and learning. Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom unto you all, man.